Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. So, Kamala Harris, in a very historic and somewhat pungent turn of events, the VP is set to preside and presided over the certification of her own electoral defeat to President-elect Donald Trump. Damn, damn, damn. And this ceremonial role mandated by the Constitution, it underscores the resiliency of American democracy and the bittersweet failure of Kamala Harris altogether, but nonetheless, the peaceful transfer of power. And Harris has described this duty as a sacred obligation. God damn it, he won. That's what she was saying inside. To uphold the nation's democratic principles. This event comes exactly 4 years after the Capitol protests, after the Capitol riot, after the Capitol insurrection of January 6th of 21, adding a layer of significance to today's proceedings that she's oversaw. She's like, farewell, America. He won. You know, that grimace face of loss and defeat and upholding the Constitution. She was classy. She did her job. But man, it's kind of like you're standing there and you didn't win the championship and the other team are holding up their hands, they're rooting, you're just sitting there trying to hold your peace like, why do I got to be a part of this? It's like boxers or UFC fighters. Once they lose, the referee grabs both hands and hold up the winner hand. I'm not laughing at, yes I am, I'm laughing at her. I'm laughing at her because man, again, you know, it was a Constitution of the certification of her own electoral defeat to President-elect Donald Trump. So I'm pretty sure that stung a little bit, but nonetheless, she held it together. Some other people probably wouldn't have been as classy. Now, President Joe Biden has signed into law a new Social Security reform aimed at enhancing benefits for government workers. This legislation addresses longstanding disparities in the system, ensuring that public sector employees receive fair and equitable Social Security benefits. The reform is expected to positively impact thousands of government workers, providing them with greater financial security in retirement. This move reflects the administration's commitment to support public servants and rectifying systematic inequalities. Now, what's daunting about this, I'm trying to figure out how in the hell is Joe Biden going to do this? Or rather, how did he do this if Social Security has always been on the brink of no one getting paid? For the past 10 years, a lot of us been hearing, especially those who are Generation X, millennials, and maybe even some Generation Y, that when you retire, Social Security would not be there. Social Security would not be afforded to you. Nonetheless, we supposed to be paying into our own Social Security. If you guys, it doesn't matter what age you are, if you've had a job in America and you've seen that tax, Social Security tax, you can go to the SSA.gov, make a Social Security account, and they have your uploaded makings due to your W-2, your W-4, your IRS returns of how much money that you've been putting away by the way of Social Security. But the way that America has been working with Social Security is that Social Security that we are paying now are being paid to those in retirement versus be paying for yourself. I thought this was equitable for those who are putting large amount into Social Security so you can have something to substitute with your 401k, your severance pay, and all other bills that you may have. Because here in America, unfortunately, unless there's some sort of grandfather clause, you can own your home, but you cannot own the land. Because if you own the land, then you wouldn't have to pay property tax. There are some countries where you pay for the land, you pay for the structure that's being built on it, and you don't pay any more taxes. But that's not America because, again, you pay property tax that's going into the sewer, schools, jails, as well as fire departments, police, all sorts of things. So, again, I wonder what's going to be the fallout of Joe Biden signing this, because there's never been a fix supposedly to Social Security. So how is he signing over more benefits? That's the only question I have. How are you signing over more benefits if we are, what, $36 trillion in debt, and we're still trying to foot the bill and pay off the debt that America has? even when Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy comes inside of the Department of Government Efficiency and they're stating they're going to knock off $2 trillion, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket when you're talking about $35 trillion. But again, good old Joe, he just signed it all away. He just signed it all away. Yeah. We just go further in that. Who cares? So I just want to know, how is he going to pay for it? How is Joe going to do this? That's my only question. And again, just being a president, he can just whip it into law and then let everybody else figure it out. But again, I told you, Joe doesn't care anymore. He on his way out. It seemed like he doesn't really care anymore. Now, in international relations, Congress has been notified of a plan, $8 billion in weapons sale to Israel. The deal includes advanced military equipment designed to bolster Israel's defense capabilities amid ongoing regional tensions. And we have to look at this very substantial arms package underscores the United States' continued commitment to Israel's security and the strategic partnership between the two nations, because the sale has sparked debate among lawmakers and advocacy groups regarding its implication for Middle East stability. Now, I don't have an issue with this, because if we are allies or we are friends, you're not going to keep giving your friends and your allies money and equipment for nothing. So it's by the time they pay their fair share and pay for some of the equipment and pay for some of the support that America has been affording to them while they're fighting their quadruple head war on terrorism. Would it be Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria? I mean, they're fighting damn near 3-4 countries. So yeah, they should be footing the bill on that, because we've been giving aid, billions of dollars, and now we have a sale that went through. And we should be selling to Ukraine as well. I wonder, what is the GDP of Ukraine? Do they have the money to pay America? Because as I stated in the earlier broadcast, we've given Ukraine almost $200 billion. So when is Ukraine using any of their money, or they're just using some things they have in stockpile? They're using some things that they have stored in their equipment locker. I don't know. But I just know that America's footing the bill with a lot of other countries. I want you guys to think about that. You have your own country. And yeah, we're allies, we're friends, we're partners. Now, you're not a part of NATO, no big deal, but we're still allies. We continue to give billions of dollars to a country to suffice them during their war. But when does that end? So again, I don't think I'm against this. I don't think I'm against this at all, because again, if America is getting $8 billion for us to sell arms to Israel, we've done a lot more for less. I know you guys are aware of that. We've given a lot of groups weapons and support and didn't ask for anything in return. Maybe a little small pocket of their country where we can put a base, but other than that, we didn't ask for too much more. And even in that, we still bring economic value, because when we send troops on ground, troops are in the local markets, troops are in the local cities, purchasing things would raise the economy in those regions. So it's a win-win for a lot of these countries nonetheless. Now, when we're talking about the amount of tariffs, because there's been some rumors, there's been some rhetoric about Trump supposedly dialing back some of his talks when it comes to tariffs, but he stated that it was fake news, because in a significant development in U.S. trade policy, President-elect Donald Trump is reportedly considering implementing universal tariffs on imports, focusing specifically on goods essentials to national and economic security. Now, this marks a shift from his earlier campaign promises of broad tariffs on all imports. The targeted approach aims to protect critical industries such as defense, medical supplies, energy production, all of these different markets, which is going to affect. Trump has publicly denied these reports, labeling them as fake news on his Truth Social account, because this proposal has already influenced financial markets, causing fluctuation in the US dollar and stock indices, as well as Bitcoin. The question remains is this: will this strategy bolster American manufacturing, or could it lead to increased consumer pricing and trade tensions across the globe in those countries that do large business imports and exports with America? These are the tensions that are raised for some of the fake news he's stating, the comments or remarks that he did not make altogether. Now, in other news, President-elect Donald Trump has urged congressional Republicans to consolidate his key policy initiatives into a single, expansive piece of legislation, dubbed the mother of all MAGA bills. Talking about Major MAGA. Major MAGA. This comprehensive package is expected to include tax cuts, enhance border security measures, and initiatives to boost domestic energy production. By combining these priorities, the administration aims to expedite the legislative process and deliver on campaign promises swiftly. However, this approach has sparked debate. Okay, it sparked debate amongst lawmakers, with some expressing concerns over the bill's scope and the potential fiscal implications. Now, the success of this legislation strategy would depend on the Republicans' ability to maintain unity within their slim majority in both chambers of Congress, because we understand that the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and when he's inaugurated on the 20th, they control the presidency. So a lot of people say, yeah, we understand that you want to group these all in, but we need government oversight. We need more government. I know you're trying to do things very swiftly, very quickly. You want to appease the American people. Well, we just don't know if this is going to work out, Donald Trump. We don't know if we can fit any fluff inside of the legislation that you want us to do. And again, he's trying to get things done very quickly because he made promises to the American people. And when people say politicians make promises, no politician goes and say, I promise. They don't really say that, but they give you their word, and your word is your bond. So your word is essentially a promise, and that is what I'm getting to. So again, it looks as though he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And not only that, he's trying to get it done very quickly, which I appreciate. Okay, because a lot of things that he said were very bold, ambitious statements of legislative and policy-driven initiatives that will change America as we know it. So again, we're waiting for these changes. So he's like, day one, day two, I'm trying to get things done. And I think that's exactly what the American people want all together. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom has issued an executive order targeting the consumption of ultra-processed foods and synthetic dyes within the state. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is a good thing in my opinion, because you have processed food, and a lot of people don't know that when manufacturers or people who distribute food or package food, they freeze food, that is a form of processing. But then you have ultra processing food where they use all these chemical preservatives and additives to make the food taste better, flavonoids and all these other things. But again, we've learned that 5, 7, 10 years later, people are essentially but they are occurring cancer in their cells. So we're having all these health issues in America. And again, no one really likes Gavin Newsom. That doesn't mean that he can't do something good, okay? Because a lot of times when people take a stance, whether it be a political stance or they just don't like him because of his policies or maybe himself or some of his actions, that doesn't mean that he can't do good things. And I believe that this particular executive order that's targeting the consumption of ultra-processed foods and synthetic dyes is a good thing. Now, the order mandates new regulations aimed at reducing the availability and appeal of these products, citing health concerns linked to their consumption. There's a lot of health concern because that is why Donald Trump has appointed RFK to the the Human Health Administration to eradicate some of these poisons from our food. That's why we're not living as good as other countries when it comes to our personal health, because a lot of things we buy, and again, Americans, we're not really looking at the ingredients. Now, there's some products that I know you guys look at the ingredients, but there's some other things you just like, oh, this has got to be good. You don't even think about it. It's very subconscious, right? Yeah, okay, that got to be good. Let me just do things like that. You know what I'm saying? Remember when you guys used to go to the grocery store, and I found this out, and I guess you guys know this as well. They used to wax the apples. And I used to always question why my aunt would, soak the apples. And I said, why are you soaking them, just rinsing them off? They said, well, they wax them. That's what that funny taste is, because they beautify the fruit in order for you to buy it. Fruit doesn't need to be beautified. Either you're going to eat the fruit or you don't. But you guys remember those red delicious apples, those Fuji apples, those Granny Smith apples, and they used to be really shiny. And guess what? Guess what these grocery stores, these conglomerate corporate grocery stores was doing? Farmers will come in with bushels of apples. Okay, I'm just using apples as an example. There's many other fruits that used to do the same thing. And any apple that had a bruise or a marking or like a little slit or hold, or you know how the apples kind of look beat up, but they're still good apples once you get past the skin. If they had any visual markings on the skin or the peel of the apple, they used to send it back or discard of it and didn't pay the farmers for that apple, because they wanted to wax it so it can look good, so it can attract you to go buy the apple. So again, we've been wasting food as well, just for it to look good. Okay. All good food doesn't have to look good for it to be good for you. That's just my take on that. But nonetheless, this initiative positions California at the forefront of public health and advocacy, aiming to combat diet-related health issues such as obesity, which that's pretty much a plague in America, and diabetes as well. The food industry and consumers alike are bracing for the impact of these forthcoming changes. So again, I believe this is a good thing that Gavin Newsom is, spearheading, and he's doing it even before the federal government come down and put any legislation in place by the way of Robert F. Kennedy. So that's pretty good. Now, the U.S. Army is adopting a new approach in its defense strategy by incorporating more cost-effective, inferior drones into its arsenal. This shift acknowledges the evolving nature of modern warfare, where quantity and expendability can be as crucial as advanced technology. By deploying cheaper drones, the Army aims to enhance its operational flexibility and resilience, mostly in scenarios where high-tech equipment may be vulnerable or impractical. This strategy reflects a broader trend towards adaptability and scalability military solutions, because for quite some time, a lot of the drones in the military can do a multitude of different things. It can be an attack drone, surveillance drone, it has all these different missions where they can drop bombs, they can do aerial assault, they can do recon, they can do surveillance. And a lot of these drones had these very adaptable multitude of different things they can do. Let's say, no, we're going to start making very cheap drones that do one specific thing. If it's going to drop bombs, it's going to drop bombs. If it's going to do surveillance, it's going to do surveillance, which makes it cheaper because you don't need all this high-tech equipment, right? And then they have to make sure that it can still fly as well using certain materials. And a lot of times when it comes to a lot of this expensive equipment, we always want the drones to return. Okay, we always want the drones to return. So these cheaper drones, they're probably looking into that. We really don't need none of these drones to return because it's cheaper just to explode it on site or have it ram into the ocean or anything like that. So look for that as well, because again, they get in this strategy for no other than China. China is our competition, especially when it comes to the drones, okay? Especially when it comes to these drones. We have these very elaborate, expensive drones, but when we look to our Chinese counterparts, when it comes to surveillance and deploying and whatever the Chinese drones do, they're cheaply made. So guess what? They're not just making hundreds of drones in China, they're making thousands. And they have specific missions targeted in those particular drones. So we're learning, okay, we're learning from some of our adversaries, which is a good thing. We should be very adaptable in our approach. That's my philosophy on that. We should be very, very adaptable in our approach. Now, this is just a story I wanted you guys to know about because I have one of these, not the one with the robot arm. That's probably expensive as hell. A vacuum cleaner, a robo vacuum cleaner, but this is by Roborock. And I do have a Roborock vacuum, and they have really good technology, really good sensors in them. But at CES, also known as the Consumer Electronics Show, tech enthusiasts were captivated by a new robot vacuum capable of picking up socks and probably other things as you see here. Now, I do have small clip I'm gonna show you guys. It's very slow, but this is kind of like the prototype. And they said later on this year, maybe in the summer, they're going to deploy a much faster model, okay, of the robot picking up items and socks and what have you. This innovation represents a very significant leap in household robotics, promising greater efficiency and convenience for users. Now, the demonstration drew considerable attention, highlighting the ongoing advancement in artificial intelligence and machine learning that are making smart home devices more intuitive and more effective. And I have a one, it kind of does everything itself. It's very smart. It's AI driven. It returns to the dock. It empty, this little basket of dust and dirt that it collects on the floor. It also refills itself with water to mop the floor. The machine also heats the water to mop the floor. I just hit, mop and vacuum, and it does everything else. Let me tell you what else they're going to do with this robo vacuum cleaner. This robo vacuum cleaner is going to have the ability to climb stairs, because I can take my robo rock vacuum cleaner upstairs and I can put a border where it doesn't fall downstairs, some sort of virtual border where it knows not to go into that area so it doesn't fall down the steps. But they're going to use this robot arm. Okay, they're going to use this robot arm in order for it to climb up the stairs. It's going to use some sort of mechanism where it comes to the step, puts the arm up, lifts itself up, and keeps going up the steps. It may take all day, but nonetheless, I'm pretty sure as this advances further, they're going to have this capability. And I'm not going to lie, I love my robo vacuum cleaner, okay? You kind of set it and forget it. And it has a smart AI plan, right? And I'm like, what does a smart AI plan mean? Because it also has embedded in the front sensors a camera. So, I kind of made somewhat of a smart home. Everything is voice activated, video doorbell, you name it, I have it. Even the garage, and of course I have to be on a DNS server. That way people can't hack me and do a rolling code. But I'm not going to tell you about all the technology I have, but nonetheless, you get what I'm getting at. But it has a video camera inside of the vacuum where you can click into and see what the vacuum is actually seeing. So you can just possibly buy one of these vacuum cleaners, right? Not this one, but one of the RoboVacs with the, with the camera inside of it, and you hear strange noise. Instead of you going outside, trying to clear your home with a gun, just have your robot to do it. Have your vacuum to do it. You're like, is anybody out there? If you run into somebody's feet, chances are there's someone breaking into your home. But let me show you this quick clip before I forget. I'm running my mouth here, but I really want you guys to see this, to see if you guys are interested in a robo vacuum cleaner with a robotic arm.
Roborock's latest robot vacuum has an arm, and it's designed to pick up small items like socks, tissues, and towels while it's cleaning your floors. While this version seemed fairly slow at the demo that we saw ahead of CES, the company says the model that will launch this summer will be more responsive and less selective. Still, anything that means that I don't have to tidy up before cleaning my floors seems like a win in my book.
Yeah. And again, that's for a lot of you techies out there. I'm somewhat of a techie to a certain degree. So I enjoy advancements in technology. But let me tell you that this technology, when it comes to this robo vacuum cleaner, it's nothing new. If you guys ever watch Robo Wars, when they had those competitions of people creating robots and they'll be fighting inside of a cage, this is just an extension of that. They're just putting that in a vacuum cleaner, but the technology has always been there. But nonetheless, I digress. I thank you guys for joining me here this evening. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. This is Black Logic.